So you thought you've been doing well in learning your HTML and CSS. You've been reading all you can. You've been watching as many videos as you can. But then you run across the term pseudo-element. Pseudo what? Well, I'm glad you came here today. My name is Peter from Tilret Web Design, and in today's video, I'm going to tell you what pseudo-elements are and give you some examples of how they can be used. So with that short introduction, let's get started. Let's begin with definitions. A CSS pseudo-element is a keyword added to a selector that lets you style a specific part of the selected elements. The most common ones you'll see are the before and after pseudo-elements, which are very similar. In CSS, before creates a pseudo-element that is the first child of the selected element. It is often used to add cosmetic content to an element with the content property. So I'm going to show you how to do that in just a moment. We're using CodePen again today, and in this case I've pre-filled in a lot of the CSS to develop this card that you'll see in the middle of the screen here. It's typical of any card you'll see on a website offering services or pricing. It's got a header, it's got the paragraph, it's got some list items, and the button. I'll be focusing on the before pseudo-element, and the first use case is that as tags and buttons for this card. So we make a pseudo-element by going down here. We'll call it card, and then a double colon, and then before. Add your brackets and you start your styling. And the first styling we have to add with a pseudo-element is this content. Oftentimes it's left empty, but in this case we're going to put in new with an exclamation point to serve as like a tag or a banner showing that this is a new service or new pricing. And then we just add our other typical types of styling, our width and our height and so on. We're going to use exact positioning, so we'll assign our card before to position absolute. And then to do that, we need to go up to our card here and put it as position relative. And then you'll see this nice, with our styling and things, you see that nice new tag there. Now we can shift it over to the left a little bit, adjust our border radius, and there, nice looking tag that you'll see on a website. Our new service, our new pricing. That's one typical use of that before pseudo-element. Another example use case is as a hover effect. The pseudo-element can be in front of something, and when you hover over it, it moves and reveals it. So I'm going to show what that looks like. So I'll empty everything out that we had. We'll start fresh. In this case, we'll put our content. We'll make it a little message such as hover here to see our special offer or something like that. And again, in this example, we'll use absolute positioning. But in this case, we're going to use our width of 100% and our height of 100%. And give it an overlay of a black overlay, mostly black, 0.9 opacity. And then we have to just bump it over to the left and to the top just so it completely covers our parent card. And then we'll adjust our border radius to match the underlying card as well. And then we can use that for a hover effect. But remember, we also have that text content, so let's make that look good first. We're going to make this before a pseudo-element display flex, and then a line item center, justify content center, increase the font size, and then make it white so we can see our CR special offer right there in the middle of the card. That tells us where to hover. And then we can add in our CSS what happens with that hover. So when we hover over the card, it's going to affect our before pseudo-element. In this case, we're going to adjust the height from 100% to 0, and also make it contain nothing so the text goes away. And here's the result of that. You hover over it and it changes. But that's pretty choppy. We want a good hover effect, so we have to go up here and put transition. In this case, we'll put transition all. We'll make it 0.4 seconds, and you see this nice smoother transition. Our before pseudo-element lies above its parent card, and when you hover over it, it reveals the content of that card. So you'll see that in a lot of websites you visit. Very typical use case of the before and after pseudo-elements. So I hope you've learned a lot today. I hope it's been somewhat helpful. And again, I want to thank you for visiting, and I will see you next time.